Hello everyone, I am Mantesh. I am pursuing my MS degree in NIT Puducherry. So today I am going to take a NEET chemistry topic. In that one, particularly we are going to see the topic called as a CFT theory. CFT theory. So this is also called as a crystal field theory. Crystal field theory. So before going to the topic, in depth into topic, we have to discuss about the particular thing that d orbitals. So d orbitals. So what are the d orbitals we have to move? The d orbitals we have to talk about. There are 5 d orbitals. There are totally 5 d orbitals. Those are like this: dz square, dx square y square, dxy, dyz, and dxz. So these are the 5 d orbitals present in the d orbital. So we can categorize these d orbitals into 2 types. So those categories are, we can make into 2 categories. That is, firstly the axial d orbitals, and then next is non-axial d orbitals. Non-axial d orbitals. So what does it mean? First we have to think about that axial d orbitals and non-axial d orbitals. What does it mean? So we can see the graphical representation or the particular shape of the dz square and particular shape of the dx square, and all the d orbitals. Let's see the shapes of these all d orbitals. First of all, I will draw this dz square. Means the dz square will be looking like, suppose this is the z axis, this is the z axis. So this is a dz square shape. And next coming to dx square y square. So dx square y square will be like this. Suppose you take this is the x axis and this is the y axis. Okay, this is the dz square and this is the dx square y square. So now coming to the non-axial d orbitals. The non-axial d orbitals will be looking like, suppose this is an x axis and this is a y axis. So these are the first orbital, that is a dxy. This is dxy, and next coming to the, this is the z axis you consider, this is the y axis you consider, this is the dyz, and at last we are looking at this is one more, that is a dxz. This is a dxz. So these 3 comes under the particular non-axial d orbitals, and these 2 comes under the axial d orbitals. These are the types of d orbitals we are discussing. I hope these are understood for everyone. So let us keep it in mind, these d orbitals, because it's very useful before going to topic, that is the CFT. So let us enter into the CFT theory first of all. So CFT theory, what CFT theory says that? So the CFT theory says that we can explain the complex, how the complex is going to form and how the complex formation. First of all, we are going to discuss complex formation, and next one the splitting of orbitals. Splitting of orbitals. These are the main 2 points we are going to study in the CFT theory. So first point, we'll go to study about the complex formation. So we know that, but I'm going to discuss, there are a lot of complexes in the coordination chemistry, but I'm going to focus more on the complex number 6, that is the coordination number 6, that is the octahedral complex, and then coordination number 4, that is a tetrahedral complex. These 2 complex we are going to study today. Okay, let us start with the first of all this complex formation. So before going to the complex formation, let us discuss about the assumptions we have to make before going to the crystal field theory. First assumption is that the metal and ligand will be there in complex, we know. So in the metal and ligand, the interaction between this metal and ligand will be pure electrostatic interaction will be there in between the metal and ligand. So second is that the metal and ligand will be there. This metal and ligand will be there. So these are considered as the point charges. If suppose ligand is a neutral, then it is considered as an ion dipole. So these are the first basic points we have to remember, that before going to the crystal field theory. So let us enter into the octahedral complex. how the octahedral complex is going to form. How the octahedral complex is going to form. So let us discuss about that. Okay. So octahedral complex. Octahedral complex. So octahedral complex. In this one, consider a cube. Consider one cube. So in this cube, the metal will be there in the void, that is in the octahedral void. The metal will be there in octahedral void, and the ligand will be coming from the infinite distance. The ligand will be coming from 6 ligands, because octahedral complex means 6 coordination number. So that's why the 6 ligands will be coming from the infinite distance. So, and one more point is, the 6 ligands will approach to this cube from the face center. From the face center. Like this will approach from this face center, this will approach from this face center, this is from this face, this is from this face, and this is from front side. Okay, you are understanding now? Front side will come from front side, and this will come from back side. So these are how the ligand will approach the metal by these face centers. Okay. So now coming to the interactions, there are mainly 2 interactions will be there. So first of all, suppose you consider this is the metal, the orbital will be looking like. So this is a, you consider this is a complete d orbital or metal which is having all orbitals, which is electron is distributed like this orbital. So these are the electron distribution in the orbitals. So you consider the ligand will be there in the infinite distance, and this is a metal which is having a positive charge. The first interaction between these two, ligand and this metal, will be attractive force. Attractive force will take place, and this is the primary interaction. Primary interaction. This is also called as a major interaction. Major interaction. Why it is called as a major interaction means it is taking place, like it is having a big effect on the particular splitting of the d orbital. Okay, that's why we are calling as a major interaction. One more force. Suppose after this attractive force, after this completion of attractive force, the ligand will come. Consider this is very near to the metal orbitals. So then after that onwards, this is also having negative charge. This ligand is also having negative charge, and this ligand, this orbitals is there now. These orbitals will have electron distribution. These electrons also having negative charge. So when the ligand approach close to the ligand, close to the metal orbitals, so then this both negative charge will feel repulsion force. This is a secondary force or secondary interaction. Secondary interaction, this is called as a secondary interaction. This is also called as a minor interaction. Minor interaction means, why we call it as a minor interaction means this is not at all showing any that much big effect on the splitting of the orbital. So that's why we are going to call it as a minor interaction, the secondary interaction, because it is not going to show any effect on the splitting of the orbital. How the splitting of orbital will take place, we are going to discuss now. So how the splitting of orbital will take place. So let us consider, first of all, see this one, crystal field theory says that this ligand will produce the crystal field, which is also called as the electric field. So these are the crystal field which is produced by ligand. So this crystal field we can categorize into 2 parts. So the 2 parts are, one is far field, and one more is near field. So what is the difference between the far field and near field? That is, we have to study now. So far field is that the far field means the symmetry wise we can differentiate both far field and near field on the basis of symmetry of this crystal field. Symmetry of that particular crystal field which is produced by the ligand. So the symmetry of the far field is that it is a spherical symmetry. So means, what does it mean? The spherical symmetry means this ligand is there now. This ligand, when it is in infinite distance from the metal, it will produce a field such that it is having symmetry. It is a spherical in shape. Means you can see that if the ligand is producing a field which is in a spherical in shape, means the all d orbitals will face same repulsion. Means this all d orbitals. First, suppose consider. Suppose consider. I will explain. So now, due to this far field, which is spherical symmetry, this one will make all these d orbitals to excite some higher excitation, like higher energy, that is called as excited state. So this excitation taking place now. This is due to the far field. So now coming to the near field. What does it mean, near field? Near field, it is the symmetry of the near field is octahedral symmetry. Octahedral symmetry, what does it mean? The octahedral symmetry means, see, I said already that suppose if we are considering a cube, the metal will be present in the middle, and means this one will take this one and keep here. Like for example, like this I kept, okay, and this is the orbitals. So now the ligands are coming from the phase center. See, phase center means the more repulsion of this ligand is with the axial orbitals, these two orbitals. I hope you are understanding the concept, okay? So the field of the ligand will be more effective on the axial position orbitals of a metal, okay? So that's why the orbitals which are presenting on the axial positions means those orbitals are dx square y square and dz square will face more and more repulsion. Means the near field is octahedral symmetry. It is having an octahedral symmetry field. So that's why octahedral symmetry means it will produce a crystal field which is more towards the axial position. So that's why here in the d orbitals we are having dx square y square. Here these are axial and these are non-axial. So these are dz square and dx square y square. So these orbitals will feel more repulsion. Means it will go to higher energy. And other will come to lower energy. So this is what happened. The splitting of the orbitals we will call as. This is how crystal field work in the splitting of d orbitals. So this is how the crystal field works in the splitting of d orbital. So I hope up to here everything clear for you. So I will explain this one particularly. This one I will draw a neat diagram. So first one, the 5 orbitals are there, and due to the far field effect, the energy of the orbitals will increase, and then due to the near field, the energy will be decreased of the non-axial orbitals Iz and Zx, x square y square and dz. Okay, this is how the splitting will take place in an octahedral complex. This is also called as T2G state, and it is also called as EG state. This center is called as a barycenter, and this energy difference between the two splitted orbitals is called as a splitting energy, and this energy gap is 2/5 delta O, and this energy gap is 3/5 delta O. This is how the splitting will take place in an octahedral complex. Okay, I hope this up to here everything is clear. Okay, next coming to the how the splitting will take place in a tetrahedral. How the splitting will take place in a tetrahedral molecule, the tetrahedral complexes. Okay. So now coming to the tetrahedral complexes. Every concept what I said during this crystal field theory, everything will be same, but in tetrahedral complex what will happen is, these are the 5 orbitals of d orbitals. So it will go due to the far field, it will go to the excitation state, high energy, and then only twist is that here only the splitting due to the near field, the effect of the near field will change. How it will change means, suppose I am having any same cube which is having metal which is having metal here. This metal now will present in a tetrahedral wide. Tetrahedral wide will present in a tetrahedral wide. So tetrahedral wide means the ligands will approach from alternate axis of symmetry. So this is why alternative the point, alternative axis. So not here. If it is here, then the ligand will come from this one, and next the ligand will come from back side this position, and next the ligand will come from this position. Okay, like this the alternative positions or alternative axis it will come, the ligand will approach. Means now see, suppose I am drawing this orbitals now. Now the orbitals will be looking like this of a d orbital. Now see, we can see that the ligands are approaching in this position, right? This position means indirectly the non-axial orbitals will face more repulsion. When we are talking about octahedral complex, their axial orbitals will face more repulsion. So that's why axial orbitals will go to the higher energy. But this time non-axial orbitals are facing more repulsion from this crystal field produced by ligand. So that's why now this non-axial orbitals, which are dxy, dyz and dzx, will go to the higher energy, and other two orbitals, that is a dx square y square and dz square, will come to the lower energy. Okay, same thing is the very center, and this whole thing is the splitting energies as it is same, but here 3/5 delta t and 2/5 delta t. Okay, the thing is here these two orbitals are represented by only by E, and this is represented by T2, because here we are not using G. This G indicates G-rate. Okay, this G indicates G-rate. Why we are not involving this G-rate and un-G-rate concept means because these tetrahedral complexes are not having any center of symmetry. Center of symmetry will be not there. So that's why due to absence of center of symmetry, this G-rate and un-G-rate concept will not come. So that's why we will not use in the tetrahedral complex. So this is how the splitting works in the octahedral complexes and tetrahedral complexes. So there is a lot of topic to explain in this whole crystal field theory, but due to the lack of the time, so I will round up my class up to here only. Thank you for your time. Thank you.